At the start of this game, let's take a look at the lineup for the Royals. The Royals lost last night 5-2. They managed just 6 hits. Melky Cabrera is hitting in the third spot. He's back in right field tonight against the Blue Jays starter Brett Anderson. He's 4 for 7 for his career with a double and a home run. And Alex Gordon, his last 12 games has been pretty good. This is what everybody remembers about Gordon in the past. He's a good hitter. 3 doubles, 3 home runs, including that record-breaking home run last night. They hit here at Rogers Center. They're set to take on Brett Anderson.
5th start of the season for Brett Anderson for the Blue Jays versus the Kansas City Royals. He hasn't faced them since 2010. He's made a couple of starts with them. He joined the rotation on August the 29th, the Blue Jays rotation. He's done well. First 3 were very good, and then he had a really tough one against Minnesota with that blister problem. Lefties have given him a problem. Left-handers are hitting .406 versus Brett this season.
Well, one thing you know about Brett Anderson, he works quickly, so don't turn away. He's going to grab that ball and fire it. And last time out in Minnesota, as Pat mentioned, he was breezing along until he dealt with that blister issue in the 5th. Curveball, base hit through the left side of the infield. Merrifield had 2 hits in last night's game. He's got a leadoff single here in the 1st. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays defensively. Carrera, Pilar, and Bautista in the outfield. Goins and Marnie up the middle. Russ Martin's behind the plate, and Jose Bautista had quite a night in the field last night.
2 great catches in the outfield last night. 1 down the line, 1 against the wall in right field. This is his 132nd start in right field. He's 3rd in the American League in outfield assists for right fielders with 8. So he's putting together a pretty decent season defensively for the Jays.
Says Lorenzo Cain, the center fielder. He was 0 for 4 in the game. He goes after the first pitch, rips it into right field. Merrifield will stop at second, so Cain not wasting any time. He jumped on that first pitch and lines one into right.
That's the thing about these Kansas City Royals. This team, it's a free swinging team. They don't take a lot of pitches. They don't see a lot of pitches. They go up there swinging, but they don't strike out. It's a controlled atmosphere. This looks like it's going to be a sinker from Brett Anderson trying to get the ball on the ground, but it is up. And where Cain can handle that ball, he shoots it the other way.
Nobody out for Melky Cabrera. There go the runners. No chance for Martin at all. Boy, Merrifield got a terrific jump from second, and Cain followed him into second. A double steal. And Anderson, they went on his first move, and they got a terrific read.
No chance at all for Russell Martin to get, I think, either one of them. Watch Lorenzo Cain, the back runner, keeping an eye on Merrifield. It's a curveball, and no chance for Russell to throw out Cain at second base. Second and third, nobody out.
Cabrera hits one into right. Bautista sets up. Tagging at third is Merrifield. Here's the throw from Bautista. It is offline and late. Melky Cabrera with a sac fly, and the Royals have a 1-0 lead. Joe West, the third base umpire, is there with Donaldson and Cain, and I think the Blue Jays thought about appealing that he left early, but I don't think there was any indication of that. So Cabrera gets the sac fly, his 80th RBI of the season.
Yeah, really no chance to get Merrifield. He runs too well. We saw that on the stolen base attempt. Lorenzo Cain, he's had some quad problems. He's not running like we have seen him in the past, but still plenty of speed. Boy, that happened quickly. 2 quick hits, a stolen base, sac fly. Now Hosmer gets to hit with a runner on third base.
And I tell you what, they're up there hacking, aren't they? Lorenzo Cain got a base hit on the first pitch he saw. Cabrera had a sac fly, and Kansas City has a 1-0 lead after just 6 pitches.
Now you're facing Eric Hosmer. He's 3rd in the American League in hitting, and the infield's coming in.
Right back to Anderson. He will look Cain back. Go to first, and Hosmer's retired. So 2 down. Hosmer, just a little tapper back to the mound, and yeah, Cain is not running well at all. He's just laboring around the bases, and certainly we have seen that in the outfield as well. So there are 2 outs now for the catcher, Sal Perez. Perez in the game last night went 1 for 4. He's swinging at the first pitch.
No secret with Kansas City. They feel pretty comfortable tonight. against Brett Anderson. Again, they haven't faced him since 2010. So a lot of these guys weren't even in the big leagues.
Alex Gordon is the only holdover in this Royals lineup. And he's batting ninth. We mentioned he's swinging a hot bat over his last 12 games. 0-2. Another curveball. Anderson gets out of it. Minimal damage. Kansas City scores a run on 2 hits. Sac fly by Melky Cabrera. When we come back, Jake Junis will take the mound for the second time this season against the Blue Jays. Games left on their schedule, and John Gibbons certainly not the kind of finish he thought about having this season. But the Blue Jays trying to be as competitive as possible. Certainly hope to rain on Kansas City's postseason hopes. Take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons. Carrera in the leadoff spot. Josh Donaldson, boy, he's been terrific over his last 7 games. Look at that hit streak, 464. With a double, 5 home runs and 7 RBIs, and then way down in the 9th spot, Darwin Barney, he too has been hot lately. His last 13 games, he's hit nearly 400 with 5 doubles, 2 homers, including a home run last night. In that game last night, he was 2 for 3 and drove in 3.
They will face Jake Junis tonight. His 14th start and 18th appearance this season. His second start versus the Blue Jays. He's 5-0 over his last 9 starts. In fact, his last loss was June the 29th at Detroit. He did face the Blue Jays on the 23rd. He was matched up with Jay Happ. Jay outpitched him, but the Blue Jays lost that game late.
Ezekiel Carrera goes after the first pitch, taking a page out of the Royals' top half of this inning. Carrera starting hitting .289 for the season with 8 homers.
And I think they should too, because the book on Jake Junis is he likes to work quickly. He doesn't stray too far from that pitching rubber. He throws a lot of strikes. He's got a lot of confidence in his strike throwing ability. Here are the numbers that he had against the Blue Jays on the 23rd. Pitched into the 7th inning.
There's a good breaking ball, and that's a strikeout, first out of the inning. Take a look at the defense for Kansas City, one of the best defensive teams in the American League. They've committed just 72 errors. In the outfit is Gordon, Kane, and Cabrera, and they got a Gold Glover behind the plate in Sal Perez.
This is one of the best catchers in all of baseball. 4-time Gold Glove winner. He became the first Royal to win 4 in a row since Frank White won 6 straight Gold Gloves. This is one of the best. He calls a great game. He's got a great arm. He creates a nice target behind the plate.
Josh Donaldson went after that high fastball, and it's at a mile high. Gordon had to wait on it. Both of these dugouts are fairly close to home plate, and you better pay attention when you're in the dugout. Ned Yost, the Royals manager, had to duck out of the way of that ball that Melky Cabrera hit. And everybody ducking. And that's a reminder for you fans. The coaches and managers try to get out of the way of the foul balls. You should do the same.
Don't try and catch it, right? If you don't have a glove.
Don't try to catch it.
This is his 799th game as the Royals manager. The winningest manager in Royals history.
Here is Justin Smoak. Junis is one of those pitchers that you look at and say, okay, well, yeah, 88, you know, nothing special. And then you watch him pitch for a month or 2 months. You say, man, this guy can really pitch. And that's the impression the Royals have. There's a sinking fastball just missed.
Well, it took him a while to figure out, hey, I got to trust my stuff. My stuff is good enough to win at the major league level. When you start nibbling and you start trying to go for the corners, start falling behind hitters like he has right here to Justin Smoak, that's when you get in trouble. Again, he's 5-0 over his last 9 starts to go along with 4 no decisions. Gave up 1 earned run in his last start. That was against Cleveland. And we all know how hot Cleveland has been lately.
He was actually leading that ball game when he left the game, and they would come back and score a run in the bottom of the 9th. That was Francisco Lindor's home run to get back in the ball game, and he was the guy that was going to snap that win streak, but they went on to win that one, and that was their 22nd straight win last Thursday. Full count now to Justin Smoak. Breaking ball hit on the ground. Merrifield out in right field makes the throw to first, and Jake Junis has a quick inning. Just 10 pitches for Junis to retire the side in order.
Couple of years. Interesting that it comes in this building with this team, the Royals in town, because certainly that might be considered his signature performance against this team just under 2 years ago, as he staved off elimination for the Jays with a masterful effort against his Kansas City team. The most intriguing part of the deal was when Marco Estrada mentioned that the Jays came to him, approached him in the middle of the summer, in the middle of that horrific slump for Estrada, and said they wanted to start talking contract. He said, let's wait till the end of the year. It all made sense to him. He said, they talked to me, and it's fair that he will sign a deal. And afterwards, the general manager, Ross Atkins, began to mention names as possibilities to add to his core 4. That is obviously Happ, Sanchez, Estrada, and Stroman. He named at least 9 players, including the man on the hill tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays. The most exciting part of the afternoon's festivities was Marcus Stroman popped in and said, "Dinner's on you, son," and then ran out.
Yeah, everybody is anxious to jump on that bandwagon, and Marcus didn't miss a beat. Well, I think everybody's thrilled that Marco is trying to re-sign with the team. He's a great teammate, and obviously, as Brad mentioned, he had those great games against Kansas City. In that game 5, he was terrific to keep hopes alive, and he shut him down. Only Sal Perez late in that ballgame hit a home run.
Ross said the right thing. He said, and this is so true, he represents what's good about baseball.
There's another first pitch swinging. Bonifacio hits it off the wall down the left field line, and that's going to be a double for Bonifacio. Jorge Bonifacio, the DH tonight. The Royals are jumping all over Brett Anderson on the first pitch, and that's been a problem for him this season. Hitters are now 13 for 25 on the first pitch of their bats.
Time to maybe start throwing that curveball a little bit more, or maybe a sinker. 2 pitches into the second inning, at second and third again with nobody out. This was the same situation in the first inning. Second and third, nobody out, but he pitched out of that, only gave up the 1 run.
Alcides Escobar with nobody out. The infield stays back. Kansas City with a 1-0 lead.
Now, you want to talk about a free swinger. Alcides Escobar's played every game. He's had 14 walks all season long. This is his 560th at bat. He's had 14 walks, so you know he's swinging.
Anderson got out of a tough first inning using that curveball. A change up there as it moved away from Escobar. He will swing, there's no question about it. The only two hitters that have had bats against Anderson in this lineup, Melky Cabrera and the number 9 hitter, Alex Gordon. Everybody else facing him for the first time. There's a deep drive, but well foul off the bat of Escobar.
All right, that one was in. It was away, now it's in, and he's got to go outside again. He has hit well with runners in scoring position.
Kansas City as a team has not the last 2 games. They're just 1 for 10. Their ball popped foul.
Well, there's no question they are seeing him right now. They are taking some healthy cuts against Brett.
Moustakas at third, Bonifacio at second. Laid off that breaking ball.
Escobar is hitting 250 right now. You say, well, that's not much, but he got off to such a tough start. By the middle of June, he was still hitting under 200. So he has raised his batting average 55 points over the last 83 games.
Yeah, when you play every day, once you get off to a bad start, it takes forever for you to get your average up where it should be. And that's why he's hitting where he is now, because he's hit well for his last 15 games, batting .392.
322nd consecutive start at shortstop.
Base hit to left field. Moustakas is in to score. Here comes Bonifacio right behind him. Escobar with a 2-run single, and Kansas City has a 3-0 lead.
No, all you can see is that ball is just staying up as Pete Walker's on the phone. That might get the bullpen going. Dean Johnson on the other end. They have their man. And it looks like Luis Santos is going to start to get loose. Pitches are just up right now. That was a 2-strike hanging breaking ball that was hit hard to left field by Escobar.
Gordon bunts it, and that's a foul ball. Gordon was watching the ball. Martin came out from behind home plate and grabbed it in foul territory. You know, Anderson left the game last Thursday with that blister on his index finger. And then he said, okay, it's all right. And then he came out and threw on the off day on Monday and proclaimed himself fit, ready to make the start. I just can't imagine it getting that much better over that shorter period of time.
That soon. He came out after the 5th inning. Well, in the 5th inning, after he walked 3 in a row and after he gave up a base hit. He was breezing right along, too. Gave up a hit in the 1st inning, a couple of hits in the 2nd inning. There was a double play there, a 1-2-3 third. A walk, a couple of strikeouts in the 4th, and then it really started to bother him, you can tell. He walked 3 straight batters and then a hit, and then that was it.
Inside. 3-1 to Alex Gordon. There's Luis Santos loosening up. He certainly can fill the role of a long man. He started at AAA Buffalo all season long. 3-1 to the number 9 hitter. Swung on and missed. Anderson had blister issues last year with the Dodgers. He went on the DL August 23rd and missed about a month with the same problem. Blister on his index finger of his pitching hand. It was a muggy night in Minnesota on Thursday, and Anderson suggested that had something to do with the issue. Get wet hands and you don't get much of a positive grip on the baseball.
It's a hot, muggy night here tonight, too.
Ball 4. First walk of the ball game 4 straight batters reaching base here in the 2nd inning. Single, double, single, walk. 2 runs already in. Still nobody out. Pete Walker keeps close eye on all of his pitchers, and in this ball game we mentioned all the first pitch hitting. For the season now, the hitters are 13 for 25 on first pitches against Brett Anderson. And he likes to get ahead. That's always been his MO.
Get ahead with strike 1 but make that quality pitch. Let's see how the Royals are going to play this. They obviously have some good feelings up at the plate there. I don't see them giving up a base hit here by trying to sacrifice, giving up an at bat.
Already up 3-0.
Yeah, you play for the big inning.
Merrifield takes a first pitch strike. Merrifield singled and scored in the 1st inning. He's now 3 for 4 in the series. His average up to 289.
Double play was a big play for Anderson in that last start versus Minnesota. Could use one right here.
Ground ball off the glove of Donaldson. That's a base hit. Escobar comes around 3rd. He scores. And Whit Merrifield is 2 for 2. Now he's got an RBI.
Well, they got the ground ball, but unfortunately it wasn't right at an infielder. If it's at an infielder, that's a double play. But Donaldson can't get on that ball, and he hits it. There's this changeup right there. He's out in front. He hits it right to the 3rd baseman, but Josh can't get there. It's to his left. Hits it off the glove, slows it down, and that'll help them score their 4th run.
4-0 Kansas City. Still nobody out in the 2nd. Renzo Kane hits a fly ball to right. Bautista almost in his tracks makes the catch. It's the first out of the inning.
Hurry-up rules tonight. Kansas City likes what they're seeing. They're not waiting around at all.
So now Melky Cabrera will step in. Melky drove in the first run of the game with a sac fly in the 1st inning. Ball 1. Runners going again. Throw to 3rd. Gets past Donaldson. Here's the throw to the plate. It's in time. Not according to the home plate umpire. Martin with a quick tag. He looks to the dugout to suggest he put a tag on Gordon before he touched home plate. Nice play by Goins to back up the play and make a strong throw to the plate.
On every play that happens on the diamond, you got to be somewhere. And Ryan Goins was in the right place at the right time because he was backing up the steal attempt. Donaldson leaves his position. The throw gets by momentarily, but there's Ryan Goins on the spot. And then what a throw to the plate. The ruling is safe. Russell thought he got him. Let's see if he got his feet in before the tag happened. Blue Jays still trying to decide if they want to take a look at it, and I think they want to look at it now. This should be a good shot.
To me, it looks like he got his foot on home plate before Russell tagged him. He tagged him on the right leg while Gordon extended the left leg.
What a play by Goins to get over there, back up, slide, catch the ball, and then come up throwing and throw a strike to the plate. Gordon's going for the front of the plate. That is going to be really close. Really close.
So the Blue Jays have asked for the review. The play on the field is safe. Stolen base credited to Gordon and to Merrifield. Double steal. An error is charged to Russell Martin. Goins with a nice play on the backup. And it was bang bang at home. Martin looking intently at the video board, watching the replay.
We had that one shot where it looked like Russell had the tag down before that toe hit the plate. What a play by Goins to come up firing and then fire a strike to the plate.
Well, you said it. Every play on the field, there's a place for everybody. You can back up a play. There's a stolen base, a ground ball. There's a place for everybody to move to. There's the extension by that left leg of Gordon, and then the tag by Martin. Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire. He was in perfect position to watch the play. See how he moves around to make sure he's not blocked out. So you can't fault the umpire for poor position. He continues to move to get the best vantage point he can.
The determination is, where do they feel the tag was made? Was it made on the right thigh there or on the left thigh? Did Russell swipe across that left leg first and then hit that left leg? We'll see. It looks like they've got their answer.
Joe West is the crew chief, and he has the determination, and it is safe. Gordon is ruled safe. The play on the field stands. It is now 5-0. So Gordon walked. He comes around to score. Merrifield is at second. He moved up on the double steal, and Gordon scores on the air charge to Russell Martin. His third error of the season. Melky Cabrera.
Well, they have something when they're at second base. They got something on Brett Anderson right now. That's twice in 2 innings that they've stole third base. And a guy who stole third base in the first inning is out there again, so you got to keep him close.
4 stolen bases in 2 innings by Kansas City. There's Merrifield checking out Anderson, not running here. Five runs on 6 hits in a Blue Jay error. High breaking ball just outside the bag at first. Jake Junis says, go ahead, boys, keep it up. Scoring me a lot of runs. The Royals have gone 4-0 in the last 7 starts that Junis has made. He has really pitched well, and he has a 4-0 record in those 7 starts. The Royals have scored him a lot of runs. Melky Cabrera walks. That's the second walk this inning. Eric Hosmer, left-handed hitter, and John Gibbons, he's got Luis Santos ready down in the bullpen.
Yeah, he's going to let him left on left right here. Left-handed pitcher versus a left-handed batter. He got Hosmer last time on a weak comebacker to the mound. And Eric, 323. That's 3rd in the American League. Jose Altuve is number 1.
He goes after the first pitch, and this ball is going to get past the outfielders and go all the way to the wall. Merrifield's in to score. Here comes Melky Cabrera right behind him. The throw to the plate is not in time. Eric Hosmer with an opposite field 2-run double, and that's going to be the end of the night for Brett Anderson. Kansas City came out swinging. 7 runs on 7 hits. Hosmer with 2 RBIs. He now has 89 for the season. And a disappointing outing for Brett Anderson. We got a pitching change here. Top of the 2nd inning. Luis Santos will come on. rotation at the end of this season, and he is putting together quite a walk season.
Most of his hits go the other way. This is his 78th hit to left field this season. See how he stays on that ball and drives that ball the other way? The hands come through, the barrel follows, and that's why he's able to power that ball over the head of Cabrera in left field to drive in 2 more runs. He's got an outside chance now to drive in 100. He's just 11 RBIs away.
So Luis Santos will come on, making his 6th appearance. He's pitched a total of 11 innings, and across the board his numbers are pretty good. He inherits a runner at second with 1 out and will work to Sal Perez. Perez struck out against Anderson on a curveball his first time up. Santos gets that fastball inside to Perez.
Well, Luis was a starter down in Buffalo, so he's still stretched out. He's been up here a couple of weeks. And he's pitched a few times for the Blue Jays. He's done a good job for him, but so he's stretched out and he can give them multiple innings.
Gets ahead of Perez, 0-2. Santos was the losing pitcher in that game started by Brett Anderson on Thursday in Minnesota. He gave up the walk-off home run to Byron Buxton in the bottom of the 10th inning with 2 outs. Oh, 0-2. Breaking ball pulled foul outside of third. You know, watching Anderson on the bench, that's the plight of a starting pitcher, where you wait for 4 days to get a chance to play, and then all that anticipation, and you're out of there in the 2nd inning. It's really a tough situation.
It is. It is. And now you got to sit around and you got to wait 5 more days before you get another shot to pitch.
I win 2. 6 runs in this inning for Kansas City. Swinging a drive deep to left field. This ball is high and gone. Sal Perez, a 2-run home run, his 26th of the season. And that extends his club record for home runs as a catcher.
He's been dealing with a side muscle strain, an intercostal muscle strain. When he swings through pitches, it hurts him, but when he makes solid contact, no problem. And right there, that was some solid contact. 26th home run of the season for Perez. That stretches the lead to 9-0.
Certainly one of the best catchers in all of baseball, and he just expands that lead. He had been out of the lineup for a couple of days, returned last night, and here he connects off Santos for a 2-run home run.
Down and in. Right where home run hitters like it. Down and in like that, and just drop the head of the bat. It's an 8-run inning.
Kansas City has a 9-0 lead. This is Mike Moustakas. He drives one to left field, high and deep. Carrera on the run. It is off the wall. The throw to second base. Moustakas is head first into second safely as the ball gets past Barney. So Moustakas an opposite field double.
Yeah, Moustakas has been dealing with some knee problems, and he's been a little dry when it comes to the home run swing. Again, he is tied with Steve Balboni for the team lead in the team single season home run record. He almost gets it with this swing here, deep the other way, off the bottom of the fence. He'll have to settle for a double.
Moustakas has not homered since September 1st because of that balky knee. So Kansas City 9 runs on 9 hits. Still just 1 out in the 2nd. Jorge Bonifacio had a double and scored a run in the 2nd, starting this inning. Batting for the 2nd time. Moustakas started the inning with a single to left, then Bonifacio doubled off the wall and left. It's slider down and away.
Kansas City came out here with their hitting shoes. You mentioned they only had 6 runs last night and 2 runs, one in the 7th and one in the 8th last night. That's not the case tonight.
Slider blocked by Martin. Still just 1 out. Santos came into the game, gave up the home run to Perez and a double to Moustakas. All the while, Jake Junis trying to stay loose on the Royals bench. High fly ball to center. Pilar has plenty of room. Falls for it, waits for it, makes the catch.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV.
Well, it's a beautiful evening here at Rogers Center, and the Blue Jays have dug themselves a deep hole early on. They trail 9-0. Top of the 2nd inning. Alcides Escobar had a 2-run single earlier in this inning. Luis Santos trying to close things out here. Foul ball. Joe West took a long look at it and called it foul.
Alcides Escobar on this fastball inside. It leaks inside. And Joe West, been around a long time, calls it foul.
Joe has umpired over 5,000 games. There have only been 3 umpires to ump that many games. Bruce Fremming. So Bill Clem is the 3rd umpire that has logged 5,000 games.
It's been a long inning. 9 runs now, 8 in this inning. And Escobar, he is not going to walk. He's ready to swing it up there. So throw a pitch off the plate.
0-2. There's a pitch off the plate. He beats it foul. Kansas City, wondering about the most runs in an inning. They have scored 9 runs in an inning twice this season. Last time they did that, July 26 at Detroit in the 7th inning. They have scored 8 runs here in the 2nd inning tonight. 8 runs on 7 hits this inning. Popped up. Martin over near the Blue Jays dugout. He will get there and make the catch, and the inning comes to an end. Tough outing for Brett Anderson. Sal Perez greets Luis Santos with a 2-run home run, part of an 8-run inning. The Royals score 8 runs on 7 hits and take a 9-0 lead.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new 2018 Honda Odyssey. With available Honda Vac, it always bats cleanup.
Well, there's a lot of good things to eat here at Rogers Center during the Blue Jays game, and that looks pretty tasty right there. Fixing to take care of the smoked meats. Jose Bautista takes the first pitch outside from Jake Junis. Pops this one up, and that's going to fall behind the Royals dugout.
That's where teams have been pitching Jose lately. Fastballs up there. And then once they get him looking for that ball up there, they'll drop sliders down and away on him.
Junis has a good slider. It's been characterized as one of those sliders that just continues to break down and away. Fastball ripped into center field. Kane is right there to make a play on it.
See, I think you can expect a lot of fastballs from him now with a 9-0 lead. He wants some short innings, some quick innings, get in and out very quickly. Let's take a look at the scouting report for tonight's starter, Jake Junis. It's basically fastball slider. That eats up 87% of the time that he's going to throw it. He'll mix in a changeup and a curveball also. But that slider is the pitch, and watch out for it with 2 strikes. 46 of his 69 strikeouts this season have ended with that slider. He likes to use it to both lefties and to righties.
You can see Junis doesn't throw hard, just 88 miles an hour, but he's got good movement on his fastball, and he has good control. You see the movement takes it out of the strike zone, so it's 2-0 to Kendrys Morales. Perez tried to make it look like a strike, but it was still off the plate. It's 3-0. Four straight wide ones, and you just wonder if that long half inning kind of caused Junis to tighten up a little bit. He walks Morales on just 4 pitches.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't have a problem. You know, if it's a long inning, get up, walk around, move around. There's plenty of room underneath the stands to do some throwing, do some stretching. He just needs to just concentrate and say, hey, here's the fastball. Let's see what you can do with it.
Kevin Pillar, he goes after the first pitch. Pillar faced Junis back in June in Kansas City, went 0 for 2. Junis just turned 25 years old this month.
Did you say he was a 29th round draft pick?
Indeed he was. 2011. Pillar hits a high fly ball. Kane took one last look over at Melky Cabrera to make sure Cabrera had heard him call for it. Kind of interesting how he was so confident. He looked right at Melky and said, "You okay there?"
Let the sure man have it. Hey, I got it. Don't run me over. Kane is an outstanding center fielder.
Former Gold Glover Melky Cabrera is coming over in the end of July, and Kane wanted to make sure that Melky had heard him. And he took one last look at the right fielder. Russell Martin goes after the first pitch.
Junis's stuff, his pitching style, should play at Kauffman Stadium. It's a big ballpark, and he's a fly ball pitcher. Uses his fastball a lot, and it should play because that stadium is so big. They've got outstanding outfielders here too, so they've got a great defensive team.
For 12 more games, they will have a good defensive team. They've got some free agents: the first baseman, Hosmer, the third baseman, the shortstop, the center fielder, all free agent at the end of this season. Going to be a different looking ball club next year.
Yeah, I believe that. I think there's a really good chance that all of them go on to greener pastures, if you will.
Yeah, I just don't think Kansas City can afford to sign them. They already have a lot of money committed to next year, over $107 million committed to 2018 without even considering these free agents.
You know, and if that is true, that if the window is closed and their time, it's been a heck of a run for them. They've been to a couple of World Series. They've won one of them. They've had an exciting brand of baseball, but things might be different starting next year.
That ball is drilled to center field, and Kane is going to get there, and he caught it. It rattled around in the glove a bit, but he was able to make the catch and take extra bases away from Russell Martin. Kane, not 100% healthy with those legs, but he's able to track this one down. He got a glove on it, watched the bobble right at the end, but he able to close the glove on it for the final out of the inning.
That man Marco Estrada will be part of the 2018 season. Will you? Tickets on sale, season tickets on sale. Purchase them and automatically become enrolled in My Blue Jays. Learn more about season tickets at bluejays.com. Buck.
Thank you very much, Brad. And Marco Estrada in his press conference said, you know what, the Blue Jays told me they're going to go for it next year. I want to be part of it. I want to come back to play with the Blue Jays. So he signed a one-year contract extension for next season. Jay Happ has already signed for next year. Marcus Stroman is under control for next year, as is Aaron Sanchez, Joe Biagini in the background. So they have some prospective starters in line. They're already in the fold, and I'm sure they're going to try to add to that mix.
Ross Atkins was saying today, the general manager of the Blue Jays, he said deals like this don't happen unless the player wants to be here. His desire to be here is what made this happen. And Marco loves Toronto. He loves this team. He loves everything about it. And, you know, I think it's a smart signing. I think it's smart for the Blue Jays. I think it's a smart signing for Marco.
Mark Spauer, the president of the Blue Jays. He obviously is involved as well, but I agree with you, Pat. I think it's a good signing for both the player and for the club. So Alex Gordon has come in here into this series. He has a walk and a base hit now. Gordon had a home run in 3 at-bats last night. Continues to swing the bat well.
The minute the Blue Jays tonight make a mistake with their pitches, the Royals were all over it. Santos threw a good first pitch to Gordon, but then the minute he missed his spot, he hit it hard.
But Merrifield, the leadoff man, is already 2 for 2 tonight. He has 2 stolen bases, an RBI, and he scored a pair of runs.
And he got some dirt on his jersey. You can tell he's been playing hard. Diving into third base, stealing third.
Change up. Blocked by Martin. This is a very aggressive offensive ball club. Kansas City came into this game batting .350 on the first pitches of at bats. And they continued that tonight. Dale Swaim, the hitting coach for the Royals, chatting up Mike Moustakas.
We've got stats.
Oh, we got stats
for you on every little thing. And one of them is highest average on outside pitches. Now, this is throughout all of baseball. Whit Merrifield is 4th overall on pitches away from him. The Kansas City Royals are all over the leaderboards on all of these stats. Outside pitches, high pitches, low pitches, fast pitches, slow pitches. This time, that's a good pitch.
That's a great slider. Strikeout for Santos.
Make your projects go further with 2 times the Aeroplan miles when you shop at Home Hardware and Building Center locations from September 20th to 27th.
I want to go back to that outside pitch stat you had, and that's obviously the outer third of the strike zone. And the charts are, there are 9 areas in the strike zone, and they have inside, middle, and outside, and they have low, middle, and high, and those are all within the strike zone. So it's not like he's hitting that high on pitches out of the strike zone, but it gives you a good idea where their strengths are.
Yeah, his strength is obviously away.
There you see the chart on pitch casts. Aaron Loup starts to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Santos came in the 2nd inning with 1 out. Kane is the 7th batter he has faced. Inside, 2 balls and a strike to the center fielder. Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, and Mike Moustakas have combined to play over 2,500 games. They're regulars. They play every day, and they have played together for 7 seasons, and now they're probably going to be split up. But I think that's what winning is all about. When you develop a core of players, and we go back to the core 4 of New York, or which actually the Fab 5 if you include Bernie Williams, but they all came up together. They became friends, they became teammates, they became major leaguers that lost, and then they became World Series champions all together. I think it's imperative in this day of all the great contracts and players are making so much money that you have guys that have a chemistry, that feel like they're playing for their teammates, like they don't want anybody to let one another down. And I think it's really important to develop that kind of chemistry.
All the great teams through the history of the game have all been developed within their own organization and came up together.
It's a high fly ball to right. Kane is out on the fly ball to Bautista.
Hey, the Big Red Machine of the 1970s. That team all basically came up together. The great Los Angeles Dodger teams of the 70s and the 80s, they all came up together. The Yankee team that you mentioned, the Atlanta Braves dynasty, was basically done through their farm system with their great players that they had, that they drafted and developed.
2002 Angels won the World Series. They all grew up together. 2003 Florida Marlins. A lot of those guys were homegrown talent that they blew up after that. Then you go to the Red Sox in 04 and the White Sox in 05. A lot of core players were developed in the organization, and key free agents were brought in, or there was key trades to fill the voids that they hadn't developed.
The Indians teams in the 90s, Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez, Albert Bell, they were all developed in their farm system.
This is Melky Cabrera. He has a sac fly and a walk. He's driven in a run with the sac fly. He walked and scored in the 2nd. Gordon's at first with 2 outs. Kansas City still has their eye on a wild card, although it's a long shot at this point. Kansas City started play 4.5 games back, but there are 3 teams ahead of them. There's a high fly ball behind at second base. Goins, the shortstop, goes on, makes the catch. That'll do it. Gordon gets a leadoff single. The Royals leave him on base. Goins, Barney, and Carrera gets Junis when we come back.
...2017 returns with fast-paced pick-up-and-play MLB action packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and much more. Get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and mobile devices, and you can learn more at rbigame.com.
Thank you very much, Brad Fay. We move to the bottom of the third. It'll be the shortstop Ryan Goins, and then Darwin Barney. Kansas City with a 9-0 lead. Blue Jays looking for their first hit. Junis is one of those guys you have in your organization, and they say, yeah, he's a nice filler. He's a guy we drafted out of high school, 29th round in 2011. They draft those guys late like that and say, well, we got to have players to fill these rosters, and that's what he was basically. Goins hits a high fly ball, and Gordon makes a catch, one away. That'll bring Darwin Barney to the plate. Well, Barney, he had a big game last night.
Yeah, got the first 2 runs on the board for the Blue Jays. This is an 0-2 changeup down and into Darwin Barney, and Darwin sends it out of here for a 2-run home run. An interesting pitch. He's got a very high batting average against the changeup this year. They throw him an 0-2 changeup. That's what happens when you make a mistake.
Well, you saw him smile as he got congratulations from Louis Rivera because he was asked to bunt in that at bat. He fouled off a couple bunt attempts and then battled with 2 strikes and hit a home run. It's this one to center field, but Kane is there. 2 outs. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you very much. That's a interesting matchup down there. Chris Sale has allowed just 1 hit and struck out 5. Sale is closing in on 300 strikeouts for the season, and he's trying to get back on track a little bit. He just had a down second half to his season. There's a little changeup dribbled foul.
He got off to such an unbelievable start this year. What do you have? Double-digit strikeouts in like 10 straight starts, something like that. I don't think anybody could carry that pace through the whole season. So you had to figure that there was going to be some, downtime, I guess, if you will, or a little back to the mean.
Everybody gave him the Cy Young Award at the All-Star break. But tonight he's seeking his career-high 17th win as Carrera strikes out. That breaking ball gets him. Very quick inning for Junis in the third. We'll go to the fourth. Kansas City with a 9-0 lead. Blue Jays tonight, and he had a rough outing. That's just an inning and a third, a total of 38 pitches, charged with 8 earned runs on 7 hits. And it was just a rough outing for him. He never really got into the flow of the game. Kansas City was very aggressive. They had several first pitches against Brett tonight, and then Luis Santos takes over. Now the third pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays is Aaron Loup.
Looks like it's going to be a bullpen night tonight, as this is the third pitcher already. We're in the fourth inning. Aaron Loup. Aaron last worked in that Minnesota series on the 17th, just a third of an inning in that last outing. Good enough to give you an inning. He will face a couple of left-handed batters in this inning, scheduled as Hosmer, Perez, and then Moustakas.
Santos goes an inning and 2/3. He's charged with a run on 3 hits. He gave up the home run to Sal Perez.
That last appearance that Loup had in Minnesota, just a third of an inning, but it was good enough to pass Roy Halladay in appearances as a Blue Jay, now 11th all time.
First baseman Eric Hosmer. He had a 2-run double off Brett Anderson, and that was the last batter that Anderson faced in the second inning. Good fastball at 94 from Loup.
Appearance number 314. Career games now for Aaron Loup. This season he's had a big year.
Hosmer gets jammed. Goins backhands it in the hole in time. Bang, bang. Aaron got the ground ball. Goins made a nice play deep in the hole at shortstop.
He knew he had to get rid of it quickly because for a big man, Eric Hosmer could really run. So watch Goins to the left of your screen. He's going to get there and he's just going to throw all in one motion. He gets enough on it. A nice stretch at the other end by Smoak. Hosmer is thinking infield hit. Ryan Goins is thinking great play. And he beats him. Good play by Goins. Gets that ball over there just ahead of Hosmer.
Perez hits a ball in the air. Pilar over in the gap makes a running catch. Perez retired on 1 pitch. Beauty Tone, Canada's color experts, available exclusively at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Mike Moustakas, he's 2 for 2 tonight. He has singled and doubled. Moustakas with 2 hits has bumped his average up 3 points already tonight.
He has gotten so much better as we have watched him over the years develop as a hitter. He has gotten so much better at hitting the ball the other way. When he first came up, he was pulling everything. Just didn't know how to hit the ball the other way. That double came to left center field. He has turned himself into a really good player.
He has 22 home runs on the road this season. That's tied for the second most in the American League. Of course, Kansas City's Kauffman Stadium is a big ballpark. Rolls over on this pitch.
That's why the team record is only, and I say only, 36. He has tied it. Blue Jays team record for season home runs set by the right fielder in 2010.
54 by Jose Bautista. Luke has a good inning, 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout of Moustakas. When we come back, the big bats for the Blue Jays. Josh Donaldson will lead things off, then Justin Smoak chasing 40 home runs for the season, and Jose Bautista. Josh Donaldson was injured early in the season and missed 38 games with a calf injury, but boy, oh boy. Once he got his timing down, you could see his OPS in June and July, 774. But he went off in August, and he's carried that right into September.
He's got that swing that's repeatable. Now, there's a lot of moving parts to it, but it's a repeatable swing, meaning it's level. And once he locks that in, he can go a long time. It's been a couple of months where he has been really hot. He's hit the most home runs since the All-Star break, adding to that OPS over 1,000. But yeah, once he locks it in, it's there for a long time, and he can carry a ball club.
He's had an interesting season because of his reduced number of at-bats. He has 30 home runs and 71 RBIs. That's a little dribbler out in front of home. Perez gets on it quickly and throws out Donaldson. 2-3 on the ground out. But Donaldson, we mentioned, 30 home runs, 71 RBIs. There are only 2 players in the majors that have 30 or more home runs and less than 75 RBIs. The other, the former Blue Jay, Eric Thames.
He hasn't even driven in 60.
He's got 59. Yeah. But you can factor that into Donaldson. He's got 17 solo home runs, and he's hit a lot of his home runs early in the game.
What is it, 13? 13 first inning home runs this season for Josh. That's a lot of solo home runs for Eric Thames. 30 home runs and 59 ribbies.
Justin Smoak takes ball 2. A changeup missed. It's 3-0. Tom Kohler It's going to be a steady progression of relief pitchers tonight, it appears. There's a strike. Another strike, a drive to right. Cabrera right on the edge of the warning track. Smoak's retired. That ball got in on him just enough to keep it in the ballpark.
It looked like he was able to create some backspin to get the ball in the air for home run number 39. Ball died on the warning track.
Here is Jose Bautista, who lined out to center his first time up. Was after that first pitch. Jose coming into this game 6 for 18 in 4 games against Kansas City. He was 2 for 3 against Junis back at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City the first time these two ball clubs met. Kansas City won 2 of those 3 games in June.
One of them, 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Take one away from the Blue Jays.
Ground ball to Escobar. Another quick inning for Junis. 3 up, 3 down. Kansas City leads it 9-0. We head to the 5th. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
In the TD Comfort Zone are guests from one of TD's community partners. And don't forget, the NHL plays for the first time in China as 2 Pacific Division rivals face off in Shanghai. It's the Kings and Canucks tomorrow morning on Sportsnet. Yes, that's not a misprint. Set your alarm out west, 4:30 a.m. Pacific, the Kings and the Canucks.
Thank you very much, Brad. As the sports world is truly becoming global, as we're taking all the sports all the way around the world, you open up, and football has been in London. Now hockey's going to be in China. Tom Kohler will be next on the list out of the bullpen. Kohler will start the 5th inning, and he'll work to Jorge Bonifacio.
Looks like the Blue Jays are going to use the relievers for 1 inning to get through the rest of this game. In 2013, Blue Jays relievers threw 552 2/3 innings. That was a team record. I say was because it was passed last night. They sit coming into this game 2 innings behind the Orioles, and they have an excellent chance at passing the Orioles tonight in relief innings to lead the American League. Kohler will be the 3rd reliever tonight.
The starter for Baltimore is still in the game. Wade Miley has pitched 4 innings tonight, so they haven't gone to their pen yet. Tom Kohler gets ahead of Jorge Bonifacio.
I think that just in a microcosm what's really happened to the Jays this year is the starters haven't been able to go as deep as they did last year. Remember, they went on that unbelievable run. It was 25, 26 consecutive games where the starter went at least 6 innings for the Blue Jays last year, making things a lot easier for the whole pitching staff.
You know, the Jays might not get back to using just 7 starters for a full season, but somewhere in between is the desired number. Aaron Sanchez, you keep your fingers crossed for him and hope that he can come back and contribute in the rotation next year. And he's dealt with that finger issue his whole season, made just 8 starts in a total of 36 innings. And it's easy to forget, because he hasn't pitched this year, that he won the ERA crown last year.
He also won 15 games last year and an ERA of 3.
He won 15 games. J-Hamp won 20. And you take those games out of the mix, and it's a lot of games to make up. 1-2 pitch from Kohler. Fastball gets him. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Yeah, the Brewers they're a little bit thin in their starting rotation right now. They lost Jimmy Nelson, of course, for the rest of the season with a shoulder injury. There's a high fly ball into center field off the bat of Alcides Escobar. Villar waits for it. 2 down.
But they're hanging in there, aren't they?
They sure are. They have really gotten some great performances. Their bullpen has been terrific. And they've gotten some big offensive performances. Luis Aguilar, their first baseman, has 15 home runs. Braun has done a nice job again. He's healthy and had a good season.
Domingo Santana's got 26 home runs. Travis Shaw's had a huge year for him.
Travis Shaw's been terrific, and he was a guy they cast off from the Boston Red Sox. I bet you they'd like to have Travis Shaw now. 30 home runs, 96 RBIs, and an 872 OPS going into the game tonight.
Remember playing against Milwaukee right here. We opened up against the Brewers, if you remember, running into Travis and saying, you know, Travis, this is a great opportunity. For some reason, Boston didn't care for you. They flipped you over for a reliever, but you got a chance to go to Milwaukee, play every day, and it's a great hitter's ballpark. Take advantage of it.
And he did.
And he has. You're right.
1-1 pitch to Alex Gordon. Curveball hit on the ground right to Donaldson, who was playing in the shift. Tom Kohler needs just 9 pitches to retire the side in order. He's been a good addition to this Blue Jays bullpen. Booking a Plus fare gets you extras like extra space to stretch out on your flight. Find more about the benefits of premium economy at westjet.com/plus-fair. A little late summer action here in Toronto. It's really warmed up. The last couple of days have been spectacular, and the people are enjoying that flight deck out there in center field. Kansas City with a big 8-run second inning has a 9-0 lead. The Blue Jays still looking for their first hit off of Jake Junis. Kendrys Morales will lead things off. He takes that curveball and swings and misses for strike one.
He doesn't throw too many of them, but when he does, it's a nice looping curveball. That's the pitch that pitchers have been trying to throw to Morales a little bit more lately. There's the slider. In the American League, the lowest earned run average as a starting pitcher since August the 1st, Mike Clevenger, then Corey Kluber, Justin Verlander, and then Jake Junis. So they might have something with this kid here.
Yeah, they've really been pleased with him. And there's Carlos Ramirez. Fastball hit high and deep to left, but Gordon's got room right in front of the warning track.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Nighttime here in Toronto, as it's a gorgeous evening, and I tell you, the weather for the last couple of weeks has been spectacular. Pilar goes after the first pitch. Moustakas makes a nice grab and bounces it to first. Pilar and Hosmer collide. The ball is up against the wall as I think Hosmer reached into the base path, and his glove may have hit Pilar in the face. His helmet popped off and the ball was loose.
You know, if Moustakas could have thrown the ball a little bit lower, then Hosmer would have been able to reach out in front of the base to get it. Right down the line, he makes a good job of getting over there and catching it, but watch the ball come up and it goes right into the baseline. Hosmer can't reach out there. He's got to reach backwards as it's a high bounce right off the bill of the helmet.
Wow, that's fortunate for Pilar. The ball hit the bill of his cap, but not his face. So it's an infield hit for Kevin Pilar. That's the first hit for the Blue Jays off Jake Junis.
Yeah, that was scary. That reminded me of what happened to Dustin Pedroia the other night when he fouled a ball off the home plate. Came back and hit him right in the nose.
That makes my eyes water just thinking about it. So Blue Jays now, they've just had 2 base runners all night long. Kendrys Morales walked with 1 out in the second. Now Pilar has a 1-out single. It's a high breaking ball on the strike to Martin.
That is a tight little slider right there that just keeps moving. He uses it a lot to the righties.
Got underneath that fastball and missed upstairs.
His walk rate has really gone down also in the last couple of months because he's trusting his stuff just a little bit more.
Breaking ball hit in the air. Merrifield into foul territory, makes the catch on the pop-up off the bat of Russell Martin, 2 away.
You know, and when you have a defense like the Kansas City Royals have, they have an outstanding defense. They might set, and they've got a really good chance of setting a record for fewest errors in a season. Think about all those great Kansas City defensive teams. But for a full 162 game schedule, the Kansas City Royals might set a record for fewest errors. When you have a defense like that, you have to pitch to contact.
They've only made 72 errors this season. Brian Goins flying out to left field, his only time up. He goes after the first pitch and hits a high fly ball into shallow right. Long run for Melky Cabrera, but he gets there. And that's the inning. Another quick inning for Junis. The Blue Jays finally get a hit, their first, an infield hit off the bat of Kevin Pilar. Carlos Ramirez coming on.
Calgary, Prince Edward Island to celebrate Canada's #1 hockey community for 2017. It's the Devils and Sens, September 25th on Sportsnet 1. Buck?
What a great feature that is, Hockeyville. As O'Leary PEI will be the destination. It's Devils and Senators, and a new pitcher into the ball game is Carlos Ramirez, who's been terrific, and he has had a remarkable season.
Yeah, we're going to look at the 7 games that he has had since he has come to the big leagues for the first time. 10 innings, hasn't given up anything, just a couple of walks, no runs. He hasn't given up a hit to a right-handed batter. Add into what he did in the minor leagues, which was just as impressive, if not more impressive, because he did it for a longer time. It's been a nice little find.
47 2/3 innings pitched this season. AA, AAA, the major leagues. He is not allowed an earned run. There's a drive just as I got it out of my mouth. That's the first earned run this season, as Whit Merrifield hits a home run. That high fastball, he jumped all over Merrifield. His 3rd hit of the night, his 5th in the first 2 games of this series.
In his 18th home run this season. He has taken that second base job and said, I want it. I want it for a long time. And he's got it. He missed with a breaking ball for the first pitch. That's a fastball, right inner half. And Merrifield with his 18th home run and his 3rd hit tonight.
Merrifield last year got into 81 games, had 2 home runs and 29 RBIs. That's the first run that Ramirez has given up in 47 2/3 innings. AA, AAA, the majors.
16 of his home runs have come as a second baseman. This is number 17 as a second baseman. That ties him with Frank White. It's the most by a second baseman since Frank hit 17 in 1987. So he wanted that job at second base. I think he's won it.
Played every day there and has done a terrific job. 30 doubles, 6 triples, and 18 home runs. Ball 4 to Lorenzo Cain. So Cain walks. He is now 1 for 3 with a walk. Kansas City scored a run in the first, then 8 in the second, and now they have a solo home run here in the 6th. Line drive, and that ball is going to get past Bautista and go all the way to the wall. Cain is being waved around third. Barney will not make a throw as Cabrera drives in Lorenzo Cain all the way from first base with an RBI double.
He's always been a good low ball hitter, Melky Cabrera. He's had a sacrifice fly tonight, a walk, and he scored a run, then he popped up. This time he gets a fastball down. He's done that for a long time in the big leagues. He had his best season when he was with Kansas City. Here he doubles in Cain to make it 11-0.
11 runs on 12 hits for Kansas City. They've hit a pair of home runs, Sal Perez and Whit Merrifield. Eric Hosmer's 1 for 3.
Eric was robbed of a base hit by Ryan Goins last time up. Beautiful play at shortstop. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, and I bet you suitors are going to be lining up to sign this guy. He's just 28 years old.
In the prime of his career. High breaking ball. A lot of speculation, a lot of talk about where he might end up, and that's always a lot of fun. Prior to free agency, he was a first-round pick, 3rd overall pick by the Royals in 2008. Grew up in Miami. Went to high school in Plantation, Florida. He turned 28 on the 24th of October. This is his 7th big league season. 3-time Gold Glover. He's an all-star and a career .284 hitter. Going to be attractive.
Very attractive. You could go 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and he's still going to be in the prime. He's not going to be past it.
Ground ball up the middle. Nice play by Goins. He robs him again. Hosmer's going to say, "What did I do to you?" Melky moves to third as Goins ranges up the middle. And he can smile about it. He's taking a couple of hits away from Hosmer tonight.
Yeah, you can smile about it because you're up 11-0. Ryan Goins playing some shortstop tonight. He was shading him up the middle. There he is in your screen. He gets a good break on the ball, tracks it down 360, and then fires a strike over to first base. You know, talking about not past your prime. Players nowadays are in such great shape. 35 years old, you can still perform at a very high level at 35 years old. That used to be where guys started going down.
That's off the end of the bat. Perez grounds out to Barney. Cabrera comes in to score. It's a 3-run inning here in the 6th. Now, Perez has a 3 RBI night. The ground ball cashes in Melky from third. Looks like John Gibbons is thinking about giving some of the regulars the rest of the night off.
That's what that usually means when he goes to his bench coach. He's got a message for DeMarlo. He'll probably go down and start tapping some guys on the shoulder. Say, "Hey, go get loose."
And go down and tell the extra players, "Hey, you're going to pick up so and so next inning." Mike Moustakas has 2 hits tonight. Oscar Hernandez just getting the word, "Hey, after he hits, you're into the ball game."
Looks like Rafi Lopez went down there to go get his catcher's equipment.
This ball is drilled to right. Moustakas has just set the Royals record for home runs. That's his first home run since September 1st, and it's a record-setting home run, his 37th home run. That's a franchise record for Mike Moustakas. Steve Balboni hit 36 in 1985.
Yeah, there it is. The two that they came up together. They've been buddies for a long time. He's been waiting for that one. Bonesy held it for a long time, since 1985. Like you said, there's the bullpen. They've got the baseball. And the Moose has set a new team record for most home runs in a season.
How about that? This could be his last year in Kansas City, and he sets a home run record. He's had a great career with the Royals. If indeed this is his last season, he finished it up in style. They mentioned he's been plagued by that bad right knee, and he hadn't homered since September 1st. And there's the record. Gary Gaetti hit 35 in 95, but Steve Balboni had the record. Now Mike Moustakas holds the record all by himself.
And having trouble driving the ball because he got hit by Rondon, the relief pitcher from Detroit, right above the knee, and that really hurt the knee where he had some surgery on last year, so he hasn't been able to drive the ball. That time he was able to get out and flick that off-speed pitch down the right field line.
Moustakas a 3-hit night. Ramirez strikes out Bonifacio, but for the first time all season, Ramirez gives up some runs. Kansas City scores 4, capped off by Mike Moustakas. It's that breaking ball over the wall in right, his 37th home run, a new record for Kansas City. Kansas City making some defensive changes. Brandon Moss takes over at first base for Eric Hosmer. Chesler Cuthbert moves over to third base. He takes over for Mike Moustakas, and Paulo Orlando is the new center fielder, taking over for Lorenzo Cain. They are straight up moves in the batting order. It's a high pop up on the infield. Escobar calls for it. The shortstop waits for it, and Barney's retired, one away. Jake Junis, he has really pitched well. His last 7 games, coming into this game, he has a 4-0 record with a .236 earned run average. Coming into this game, over that span, 35 walks, 35 strikeouts, 3 walks.
Yeah, that's right. Just all over the strike zone. He pitched against the Blue Jays on June the 23rd. Pitched into the 7th inning. Got a no decision. His next start was against Detroit on the 29th of June. That's the last time he lost a game. That's how well he has pitched. 5-0 with 4 no decisions in his last 9 starts.
Simple approach. Move your fastball a little bit, make some good pitches with it. Use that good slider, occasional changeup. That's about it.
That slider has given Zeke some problems tonight. That time he laid off of it.
It's one of those sliders. I spoke to Drew Butera, the backup catcher of the Royals, and he said it's one of those sliders that just continues to break. And a lot of sliders, they'll move 8, 10, 12 inches, but this thing just looked like it breaks all the way across the plate. Changeup held onto by Perez for the strikeout.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by Samsung QLED TV. Experience Canada's team and all the colors of the game with the next innovation in TV.
Beautiful shot of downtown Toronto. And it is a summer-like evening here tonight on the 20th of September. There's that breaking ball right at the top of the strike zone. 1-1 to Donaldson. He gets jammed. Boy, there's some good movement on that fastball.
He actually missed his spot. They wanted to go down and away to Josh, and he missed his spot in. He still had enough fastball to have him a little bit late. Fouled it off to the right. He likes to use that slider with 2 strikes.
Look out. Donaldson got out of the way of it. That was the slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Changeup hit on the ground. Cuthbert has it across the time to Moss, and Donaldson's retired. Junis another 3 up, 3 down inning. 6 strong innings for Jake Junis. Danny Barnes will be next up for the Blue Jays. New pitcher for the Blue Jays, Danny Barnes, as he follows a lineup of relief pitchers into the game. Barnes will be the 5th reliever to work here this evening.
Danny last worked at Minnesota on the 14th, an inning and 2/3, gave up a hit and a strikeout. 55 games, of course, that's a career high. This is his first full season in the big leagues. He'll get an inning tonight against Kansas City. And there's a few more defensive changes. Buck will take you through them.
Rafi Lopez takes over behind the plate for Russell Martin. Rob Refsnyder is the first baseman. Darwin Barney moves from second to third. Josh Donaldson's out of the game. Richard Urania takes over at shortstop for Ryan Goins. Goins moves to second. Ezekiel Carrera is in left field. Teoscar Hernandez in center, and Michael Saunders is in right. Wholesale changes for the Blue Jays here in the 7th. Alcides Escobar, the shortstop, he has a double, drove in 2 runs in the second. Danny Barnes continues to work on that slider.
Yeah, there's that little wrinkle that he is trying to work on. Fastball, changeup, those are his 2 best pitches right there. But he said, I need to come up with that 3rd pitch, something that will go away from righties. So he's brought back his slider that he used to use when he was in college. He's trying to refine it right now.
High fly ball. Escobar hits it into center. Hernandez makes the catch, 1 away. So it has been Brett Anderson started last inning and a third, and Santos went an inning and 2/3. Loop went an inning. Kohler goes an inning. Ramirez goes an inning, and now Danny Barnes. Changeup in the dirt.
Danny's been able to handle left-handed batters this year because of that changeup. There's just enough fastball in the low 90s that you have to respect that, and he throws that changeup out of the same arm slot with the same arm motion. That one handcuffs Lopez, and it's very effective against left-handed batters. It's got a little fade to it.
Missed downstairs to Gordon. 3-0 now to Alex Gordon. Gordon has walked, singled, and grounded out. Taking all the way. Ball 4.
Available Honda sensing in the all-new 2017 CR-V, designed to help keep you safe wherever you play. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Alex Gordon, his night has come to an end after the walk. He gives way to the pinch runner, Terrence Gore. 1 out. Back to the top of the order. Whit Merrifield, what a night he's had. He has gone 3 for 4, scored 3 runs, driven in 2 runs, and homered in his last at bat.
He's got that average up over 290 now, playing every day. 540 at bats. He's at 291.
He's an interesting package. He's got power. He's got speed. He has 30 stolen bases coming into this game. Picked up 2 more tonight. 32 stolen bases. He's got 22 infield hits. He's got 6 triples, more than the entire Blue Jays team.
He's a confident player. He's a good player. Didn't make the team out of spring training last year and told him, hey, I'm going to be back and I'm going to win this job. And he went out and did it this year. Had a little pop. Homered last inning. Leading off the 6th inning against Carlos Ramirez. First runs that Carlos has given up this season.
This time he hits a fly ball to center. Hernandez backs up a few steps and makes the catch. 2 away. Danny Barnes, like so many of these relief pitchers, Tepera, Barnes, Leon, all setting career highs in innings pitched, in game appearance in, and it's just been a long season for the bullpen. They've had a lot of work down there.
Yeah, depending on what happens down in Baltimore with their starter tonight, looks like the Blue Jays are going to overtake them to throw the most relief innings this season in the American League. They were only behind by 2 innings at the start of play tonight.
Mike Miley, the starter, Wade Miley, excuse me, the starter for the Orioles, went 4 1/3, so they are into their bullpen now as they play in the top of the 6th in Baltimore.
Good changeup.
Paulo Orlando batting for the first time tonight. He took over defensively in center field for Lorenzo Cain. Cain finished up 1 for 3 in the ball game. He walked and scored in the 6th. That's over the dugout, out of play. Orlando, now 31 years old. He was born in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He still makes his home there. He was signed as a minor league free agent by the Royals in October of 2013.
Can really run.
Covers that outside pitch.
He was a sprinter in track when he was younger.
Yeah, terrific athlete. He played in a World Baseball Classic in 2013 for Brazil. Signed originally with the White Sox, and he was traded to Kansas City for Horacio Ramirez. 2008. Upstairs, 2-2 now to Orlando. It's just his 29th game of the season. Ground ball to third. Barney looks at second, and that'll do it. They get the force out at second. That ends the inning. Danny Barnes with a clean inning of work.
At 360 NHL preseason action, rivals the Canucks and the Flames, and when this one's over, Ontario West and Pacific will join. And guys, I just noticed the score in this game is now an exact replica of how many millions Marco Estrada will make next year compared to me. 13-0.
13-0, huh, Brad? Let's take a look at the changes for Kansas City. Ramon Torres takes over at second base for Whit Merrifield. Raul Mondesi, the son of Raul Mondesi, is at short. Pinch runner Terrence Gore, he came into the game for Gordon. He takes over in left field. And Jorge Soler is now in right field for Melky Cabrera. Rob Refsnyder getting his first AB of the night. Refsnyder took over at first base for Smoak. Breaking ball hit up the middle. That's going to get through for a base hit. Refsnyder gets a base hit. That's the second hit for the Blue Jays all night long. They got that breaking ball and just snuck it underneath Mondesi into center field.
First one was an infield hit. This one made it into the outfield. Breaking ball for the base hit. The super slow-mo replay is powered by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV. That super slow-mo, you can tell how much break he gets on that off-speed pitch into the outfield.
Michael Saunders entered the game for Bautista as a defensive replacement. Bouncing ball up the first baseline. Junis takes his time and throws it away. All the way down the right field line. Refsnyder will be stopped at third as Junis just threw it wide at first base. Moss had no chance to make a play. It should be an error on the pitcher. If it is, it'll be his first error of the season.
And 73rd error for the Kansas City Royals this season. Told you they have a chance to set a team record for fewest errors in a season. That came in 2013 when they had 85. Junis has plenty of time, but his throw is off the mark. Trying to get that ball to the inside to get Saunders. He's got the time. Looking to throw it to the inside. He throws it right over the head of Saunders and down the right field line.
So it is an error charged to the pitcher, and now there's a pinch hitter. Miguel Montero will bat for the DH, Kendrys Morales. This pitch is inside. Refsnyder's at third, Saunders at second. Breaking ball inside. It's 2-0. Morales was 0 for 1 with a walk in his 2 plate appearances.
Cruising right along, and now you got the guys coming in for him. Single, error, and now it's 3-0.
Tim Meza looks like he is ready to come into the ball game. Standing by down in the bullpen. Everybody's getting their work. The starter, Brett Anderson, lasted just an inning and a third tonight. Montero taking all the way. Miguel Montero, 138 in 28 games with the Blue Jays. 11 hits in 80 at bats. He's hit a couple of home runs. Three and 2 now. 13-0. The Royals have out hit the Blue Jays 13-2. Both teams charged with an error. They walked him with a breaking ball in a 13-0 game.
Make your projects go further with 2 times the Aeroplan miles when you shop at Home Hardware and Building Center locations from September 20th to 27th.
Teoscar Hernandez, the batter with the bases loaded and nobody out. Breaking ball drilled to the alley, and that's going to get down and go all the way to the wall. Ref Snyder's in to score. Snyder's right behind him, and Montero will stop at third. A 2-run double for Teoscar Hernandez. His 5th double, RBIs number 8 and 9.
Boy, he waited nicely on that breaking ball. He's been sitting over there all night long, and he sees that Jake Junis's breaking ball has been breaking and going a long way, but he said, all right, I'm going to stay back on that ball, and I'm going to drill it up the alley for a couple of runs for the Blue Jays. He doesn't get out in front until he's ready to make his swing, and when he does, there's contact. That's how you hit a breaking ball. Stay back on it long enough, drill it up the gaps. Ref Snyder and Saunders are going to score. Montero to third, and the Blue Jays trying to mount a rally.
Brian Buchter, who was acquired in a trade from San Diego, is starting to loosen up for Kansas City. Rafi Lopez took over behind the plate in place of Russell Martin. Rafi getting his first at bat.
You know, when you're pitching in these types of innings with a big lead, you're just looking for an out. Any way to get an out to stop the bleeding. That's not going to help right there, falling behind.
Still nobody out. He walked Montero on a 3-2 breaking ball. Two and one now. Rafi Lopez, he has appeared in 20 games with the Blue Jays. He's hit 3 home runs and driven in 10.
He ripped the 2-run single to right field in Minnesota. Got a chance to do it with a couple of runners on. Got the fast runner at second base, so anything into the outfield is going to score 2.
Rafi had 16 home runs in the minor leagues this season, and he's got 3 in the big leagues. 1 more, and he'll have 20 for the year. Lopez had that 2-run single on Sunday in Minneapolis. Part of a 4-run first inning against Kyle Gibson. And then Gibson settled down, and the offense for Minnesota took over. They scored 7 runs on 7 hits in the bottom of the 2nd. That ball is drilled to right field, but Soler is there. Tagging at third is Montero. The throw goes to third as Hernandez moves up. Lopez picks up the RBI with a sacrifice fly. And that's going to be it, as Ned Yost is going to make a pitching change here. Blue Jays have gotten 3 on the board, and Jake Junis will be in line for the win. He makes the call for the left-hander, and that's going to be it. But Junis staked to an early lead. He did his job, and he's in line for the win. Kansas City leads at 13-3. A pitching change here at Rogers Center. Saturday, the Yankees will be here. That'll be the middle game of a 3-game series on September 23rd. The game time changed from 1:07 to 4:07 p.m. So make sure you make a note of that. The game will start at 4:07 p.m. That's the final Saturday of the season here at home at Rogers Center. New pitcher is Ryan Buchter, making his 65th appearance of the season.
A week before the trade deadline, the Royals sent a couple of major league pitchers, Matt Strom and Travis Wood, and a minor league infield prospect and cash to San Diego, and one of the players they got back was Ryan Buchter. They also got Trevor Cahill and Brandon Maurer. We saw Maurer last night. Buchter's got a good fastball.
And Goins goes after the first pitch, flies to left field. Here's the throw from Gore, not in time. Goins picks up an RBI. Hernandez scores. And Perez looks into the dugout, suggesting he may want them to look at that. But good for Hernandez as he slides in to save Goins and at bat and get him an RBI.
Yeah, get him an RBI. It looked like Perez tagged the runner on the hand, but the hand was already on the plate. Gore, the left fielder, comes up firing. 1, 2 hops. Watch the hand. I think it's on the plate when he tags him.
Well, they're going to have a look at it. This will give you a good idea as Hernandez reaches for home plate. That's pretty close, but it looked like the glove was, the mitt was over home plate when he tagged him. Perez made a good tag. I just don't know if it was before Hernandez got his hand on home plate. Didn't look like it.
Yeah, it looked like when he came back over the plate, the hand had already just touched it. Just touched the plate. Let's see if this one will tell if the throw was up the line just a little bit more. Yeah, I don't think there's enough evidence to overturn the call on the play on the field, and the play was safe.
Yeah, difficult to tell where the contact was. Again, Mark Schwegner, the home plate umpire, kept moving around to make sure he didn't get blocked off. Terrence Gore made a strong throw, but I think Hernandez beat the tag into home plate.
That last shot that we had right there, not really sure if the tag was being applied by Perez when the glove was down in the dirt. Just not real sure. Can you tell definitively that when he has the ball in his hand that he's tagging him right there? Can you tell me? I can't.
Now, it doesn't give you a good angle. This may be a little bit better look at it. Hernandez reaches with his left hand, drags it before he swipes it. Still hard to tell whether the contact was made after the fact. Now there, it looked like he tagged him out.
Yes, on that one, if you back it up right there, if you can see that he is tagging him right there, he's not on the plate. That might be the best look right there. Perez came up right away and asked them to take a look at it.
If they reverse this call and call Hernandez out, it will be the first outfield assist ever for Terrence Gore. He has played parts of 4 seasons with Kansas City. And just a total of 9 games.
I think the longer this takes, the worse it is for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think so. And that one angle where it appeared as though the tag was made before Hernandez got to home plate. It's taken a long time.
Yeah, longer than I thought. And again, I think the longer it takes, they're looking for every angle. The longer it takes, it might not be good news for Toronto.
That there looks like he's out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only clearly evidence that we have seen where it looked like the tag was made prior to Hernandez getting the home plate.
Well, they got their answer.
Safe. They oppose the call on the field. Goins gets another RBI. Back-to-back sacrifice flies for the Blue Jays here in the seventh.
So keep the RBI on the board for Ryan. Take the assist away from Gore. He still doesn't have any.
So for Goins, that's his 55th RBI of the season. He can thank Hernandez for the speed and the good slide. 13-4. Bugler has pitched for Atlanta. Spent parts of a season and a half in San Diego before coming here to Kansas City.
And he'll throw a lot of fastballs.
Barney on that backswing hit Perez, looks like on the elbow. An inside pitch, and Perez slid to the inside. Ned Yost is probably thinking, I should have taken him out before.
Yeah, I've taken everybody else out. Let's see. High fastball, arm still there, and he gets it right on the elbow.
You can see how Barney fell back and really extended, took the top hand off, and that back comes all the way around and clips Perez on the left elbow. Says he's okay. Don't worry about it. Part of the hazards of being a catcher.
Yeah, it looked like Sal was trying to pull his hand back because he could feel that Barney's backswing might hit him. I tell you, he's a tough guy. He catches a lot of baseball games.
Another pop-up. Foul territory. Cuthbert, the third baseman. That hit something. That hit the wire. Yep. It hit that support wire that holds up the screen on the backstop. I've not seen that before.
Ever.
You can see that wire vibrating as that ball hit the wire. What are the chances of that? That's the support wire that holds up the backstop screen.
He went to make the catch. It hit the wire and went behind him.
Initially, I thought, boy, he really overran that thing.
Finish up with Perez. He's caught 138 games, 150, 142, 139, 121 games this year. So he's an Iron Man back there.
Well, Barney gets hit, and it looks like he said something to Perez, like, now we're even. I hit you, and then he hit me in the foot. But Barney will go to first after that pop-up hit the guy wire and allowed him to get another pitch, and this one hits him on that left foot. This has not been a pretty inning for Kansas City. The Blue Jays have still just 3 hits. A couple of sacrifice flies in this inning. Ezekiel Carrera has struck out 3 times tonight. And now he's behind 0-2. Boston has a 6-0 lead over Baltimore. They're in the middle of the 7th in Baltimore. Of course, the Yankees beat the Twins today 11-3. The Dodgers, they are really trying to turn things around. They're tied 2-2 in Philadelphia, top of the 7th. Milwaukee losing to the Pirates 3-2. They're in the top of the 7th as well. And the Cardinals have an 8-2 lead over Cincinnati.
And the Cubs are getting shut out tonight by Blake Snell in Tampa Bay.
I believe that was Lester and Snell, the starters in that game. John Lester just 4 1/3, 7 earned runs on 8 hits. Popped up. Cuthbert pulls out of the way for Mondesi, the shortstop, who makes the catch. And that'll do it. Carrera pops out to end the inning. The Blue Jays score 4, but still trail 13-4. Brought to you by the powerful all-new 2017 Civic Type R.
Congratulations goes out tonight to Mike Moustakas with this swing right here. That slider from Carlos Ramirez. He will set the new team record for most home runs in the season. This is number 37. Breaking the record held by Steve Balboni since 1985. That is tonight's drive of the game.
Long-standing home run record and a relatively low total, but Kansas City's always had a very big ballpark, and Mike Moustakas now is the franchise leader in home runs in a single season with 37.
It was just a matter of time. He got off to a great start. That's also his 23rd home run on the road, which is up there. Tim Mesa will come in for the 14th time this season. He's 1-0 with a .771 earned run average. He has shown some brilliance really with that fastball and slider. That one gets away from Lopez. I had a chance to talk with him in Minnesota, and he says, you know what, I feel like my slider has been better this year. I've also been able to learn to pitch in the upper parts of the strike zone with my fastball when I need it.
Jorge Soler pops it up. Lopez over near the Royals dugout, and it's on the dugout roof and bounces into the seats. You mentioned for Moustakas his 23rd home run hit on the road. Giancarlo Stanton has 27. That's the most in the majors. Logan Morrison with 26, and then Moustakas is third in the majors with 23 home runs on the road.
Logan Morrison #1 in the American League. Moustakas second now with those 23. They are hoping for big things from this guy right here, Jorge Soler. They got him from the Cubs for Wade Davis. They gave him their closer. Cubs have a closer now in Davis, who's 32 for 32 in saves. Soler's got a lot of talent.
Soler is 25 years old, born in Cuba. He's played in parts of 3 seasons with the Cubs. This year, this is just his 33rd game with the Royals. Breaking ball called strike 3. Mesa strikes out Soler to start the 8th. Tim Mesa and Matt Dermody have opened some eyes in the
Yes, they have.
Royals situation.
Out in that bullpen, I think they're going to be vying for jobs next year as hard-throwing lefties with good sliders coming out of the pen. That's always good stuff.
Brandon Moss bats for the first time tonight. Moss started in the game last night. And went 0 for 3. Sam Gaviglio, who has started against the Blue Jays in the past. He is now working out of the Royals bullpen. They last saw him while he was with Seattle. Good pitch from Meza at 95. I think that's what's intriguing about both Meza and Dermody. Their velocity has jumped since we first saw them, even back in spring training.
And they both say their sliders have been better. You know, he talked about, hey, I can pitch up in the strike zone. Now might be a time to see if you can buzz that fastball up and in.
That'll get Moss's attention. Moss came into the game as a defensive replacement in the 6th, taking over for Hosmer. Hosmer finished 1 for 4. He had a 2-run double in that 8-run second inning. Moss went after that pitch. Lopez puts the tag on him. That's 2 strikeouts for Meza. One looking, one swinging here in the 8th.
And that's what I mean about being able to throw fastballs in or up and in. It opens up that outside with the slider. Moss got a fastball inside, so you go down and away and you pick up your second strikeout.
So Sal Perez, the scheduled batter, and it'll be a pinch hitter, Drew Butera. Butera has gotten a lot of playing time when Perez has been on the DL. Butera, this is his 68th game of the season. He's got 150 at bats. Goes after that slider. Butera, 240 hitter on the season. He's got 3 homers and 14 RBIs. Of course, his dad, Sal Butera, a long-time scout, coach, special assistant to the GM here in Toronto.
Player, he was a catcher.
Pops straight back out of play. Well, the Royals, they broke it wide open in the 2nd. Scored 8 runs in the 2nd. They added 4 more in the 6th. They needed 13-4 last night. They managed just 2 runs on 6 hits. Marcus Stroman was on his game.
Yes.
King Kennedy was on the mound for Kansas City last night. He allowed just 2 earned runs on 3 hits over 5 innings. He's been dealing with some arm issues. Butera rips it over the third baseman down the left field line. He makes the turn and he'll stop at first. So Drew Butera gets a 2-out single.
High fastball, and Drew's able to get the barrel out and over the head. That's Darwin Barney, who has taken over at third base. That is hit number 14 tonight for the Royals.
Chesler Cuthbert took over defensively at third base for Mike Moustakas. He rips this one into left field. Carrera plays it back in. Butera stops at second. So back-to-back 2-out singles for Kansas City.
You know, if Tim Meza wants to use that fastball upstairs, he's got to get it up just a little bit higher. And he's talking about trying to use the fastball up and then the sliders down and then use the fastball down and away at times. But right now, those last 2 fastballs, one to Butera, one to Cuthbert, just not high enough.
Jorge Bonifacio has been the DH all night long. He's 1 for 4. He had a double in the second. Pulled foul on the first pitch. Kansas City, as Pat mentioned, 13 runs on 15 hits. Their season high for runs 16. They've done it twice. Most recently, July 26th at Detroit. Breaking ball. That's a base hit to right. Saunders coming in. Gutierrez coming to home. Here's the throw to third. It is offline, and Gutierrez scores as Bonifacio picks up an RBI. All this happening with 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts to begin this inning. 2 very good strikeouts and then 3 straight hits.
Cuthbert's now at third, and it's Bonifacio picks up the RBI, his 37th of the season.
His second hit of the night. Will plate Gutierrez with the 14th run.
Here's Raul Mondesi. Mondesi getting his first plate appearance. He took over defensively in the 7th at shortstop. He gets a base hit to center field. Cuthbert's in to score. It's 15-4. Amazing. And got Soler and Moss to strike out, and then 4 consecutive singles. For Mondesi, that's his 3rd RBI of the season.
He's the player that the Royals have been talking about possibly taking over if Escobar leaves as a free agent, that he would be their everyday shortstop next year. He's a world of talent. The name alone tells you what a good baseball player. His father, Raul Mondesi, was a great Dodger and Blue Jay.
7 years with the Dodgers, 13 years in the big league for Raul's father. He spent 3 years here in Toronto. Hit a total of 66 home runs in 3 years. Terrence Gore entered the game as a pinch runner for Alex Gordon in the 7th inning. This is his first plate appearance. As blocked by Lopez. Sal Perez getting that elbow worked on a little bit. Remember, Darwin Barney clipped him on that left elbow on the backswing. Another slider he lays off. In Pittsburgh, the Brewers have taken a 4-3 lead over the Pirates, and that's significant. If they could win that game, they would tie Colorado for the 2nd wild card spot in the National League. Colorado has fallen upon hard times. Off the bit of Raffy Lopez.
They went out to San Francisco, and they've been walked off a couple times. Those are tough losses to overcome, aren't they, in September?
You don't have any more chances to make them up. They were shut out 4-0 by the Giants earlier today. Upstairs, full count, 2 outs. Bonifacio's at second. Mondesi's at first. They'll be running on the pitch. Kansas City scoring 2 more runs here in the 8th. Ball 4. Had a load to bases where Tim Mayza had a good start to this inning, but it has turned sour after the first 2 strikeouts. Pete Walker checking on the status of the bullpen. Leonel Campos should be close to being ready. Ramon Torres playing at second base.
There's a good slider. This is where you finish it off right here so you can walk off with your teammates.
Another slider in the dirt. He chases. Torres came in as a defensive replacement for the starting second baseman Whit Merrifield, who had a 3-hit game. Merrifield, a couple of RBIs. He scored 3 runs and he hit his 18th home run of the season. 0-2. Hit in the air to left. Long run for Cabrera. He gets there. Cabrera makes the catch, and the inning is over. Kansas City scores 2 more runs here in the 8th. They take a 15-4 lead. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. It's Jamie Campbell with Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. We've had a couple of record-setting home runs in this series. Unfortunately, both of them have come off the bats of Kansas City Royals. Alex Gordon last night hit the record-setting home run for the home run total in the season. And tonight, Mike Moustakas set a franchise record with his 37th home run of the season. And now Sam Gaviglio takes over. Those are his numbers combined between Seattle and Kansas City.
Yeah, the Royals claimed Sam off waivers from the Mariners. They did that on September the 1st. He has had some games against the Blue Jays. They faced him when he was with Seattle. Got 3 pitches, fastball, slider, changeup, keeps the ball low in the strike zone, doesn't really overpower you, but he throws a lot of strikes.
Pitcher Urena getting his first at bat. Urena batting in the second spot. Josh Donaldson started at third, of course. He went over 3. Urena came in to play shortstop, and that started the shuffle. Goins went to second. Barney, the starting second baseman, went to third. Downstairs.
There is some talk of Gaviglio possibly starting yesterday's game. Ian Kennedy, they weren't real sure.
Urena hits one into the gap in the left center. Orlando with a strong throw, but it's not in time as Urena picks up a double.
We weren't sure if he was going to make it, so Gaviglio goes to the bullpen. He gets to pitch tonight. He gets the 8th inning. He faces Richard Urena. He's been having some problems at the plate, but not here. slices that ball in front of Orlando and then hustles his way into second base with an extra base hit.
This is his 4th double since coming to the big leagues. He has already hit his first big league home run, but you're right, it's been a little bit of a struggle for him lately. His average at 222 prior to that hit. He is now 13 for 55. Rob Refsnyder had a single to center his first time up, came around to score the first Blue Jay run. When Refsnyder got that hit off the starter, Jacob Junis, that was just the second hit the Blue Jays had all night. That came leading off the 7th.
That hit by Urania, just the 4th. Blue Jays have got a couple of sac flies last inning when they scored 4 runs, took advantage of an error by Jake Junis. Got the rally popcorn hats on, trying to get the Blue Jays some runs.
Gaviglio made his major league debut against the Blue Jays back on the 11th of May. Pitched in relief, pitched 2 innings. That was with the Mariners at the time. He also made a start against the Blue Jays on June 9th out in Seattle. He had no decision in that game. He pitched 6 innings. 2 runs, 1 earned run on 6 hits. Michael Saunders is on deck. Full count to Refsnyder. Strike 3 call. Perfect pitch down and away for strike 3.
First out of the 8th inning. He's got very good control. Doesn't walk too many people. He attacks that strike zone. 3-2. He just threw a perfect pitch down and away.
Michael Saunders reached on an error by the pitcher back in the 7th. His only plate appearance of this game. Gaviglio made that start against the Blue Jays. He was opposed by Joe Biagini. Biagini pitched 7 strong innings, allowed just 3 runs on 5 hits, but the Mariners won that ball game 4-2. They scored 2 in the 7th and 1 in the 8th.
I don't think the Mariners were too impressed because they exposed him to waivers and Kansas City picked him up.
And you remember that they had a lot of injuries on their starting staff. They just recently got Felix Hernandez and James Paxton back.
They also made some trades, and I guess they needed to open up some roster spots, some 40-man roster spots, so they exposed Gaviglio. He's got a good arm. He's got nice mechanics. You can see why he throws a lot of strikes. Very simple delivery.
Saunders pulls it foul outside of first.
He looks like he could be a classic long man, doesn't he, or a swing man, because those mechanics are so good on the mound. He can go a couple of days without throwing and then still give you a couple of innings. Spot start. Told you he was possibly going to make the start yesterday, but Ian Kennedy was okay. Been battling some shoulder problems. Kennedy made the start, so Gaviglio goes to the bullpen. He looks like he could be a long man. That's the lost art, isn't it?
Yeah, nobody really carries those guys that can give you 3 or 4 innings out of the bullpen. Everybody has become a 1-inning pitcher. And you'd think that you could develop somebody like this who was a former starter and bring him along and have him for these situations.
Tonight is the perfect night for a guy like this. Blue Jay starter goes an inning and a third. This is where you could use a guy to give you 3 or 4 innings.
Butera pitch hit for Perez, and he's back behind the plate. He's a very good backup catcher. The Red Sox have a big lead over the Orioles in Baltimore. They're in the top of the 8th. Tampa Bay behind Blake Snell, putting it on the Cubs. They too are in the top of the 8th. Houston, he's continued to play good baseball. Two.
Looks like all the division races are settled, but 2. American League East and the National League Central.
Well, the Central could get interesting as Milwaukee still has the lead over the Pirates 4-3, while the Cubs are getting beat.
They play each other this weekend, don't they?
4 games.
Milwaukee and the Cubbies.
And that will be 2.5 games if these scores hold up. Yeah, it's an interesting division race. There for a while, everybody said, well, the Cubs are going to go away and hide. And Milwaukee said, wait a minute. Don't forget about us. Yeah. The Brewers' schedule is much more challenging. They have the game in Pittsburgh tonight, then 4 with the Cubs. They have an off day on Monday. Then they play Cincinnati for 3 in Milwaukee. And then they go to St. Louis to wrap up their season. The Cubs, on the other hand, they're at San Francisco. Excuse me, that's Colorado. I'm looking at Colorado's schedule too because they're fighting for that. But now, with Colorado slipping, Milwaukee has tied them in the wild card race. With a win tonight, they will be dead even for the second wild card spot. And the Brewers would then be 2.5 back of the Cubs with a 4-game series coming up. That is at home in Milwaukee. Popped up over near the dugout and hits on the roof of the Blue Jays dugout.
Don't hit the wire. That's what they hit last time.
That'll be a fun series. You remember Milwaukee swept the 3-game series against the Cubs in Wrigley. And now the Cubs have to go into Miller Park and play 4 games against the Brewers, and they are hot on their heels.
4 games. John Lester threw today. Didn't have any fun today, so they will miss him when they face him.
Off the glove of the pitcher. Torres makes a nice play. Saunders is retired. 1-for-3 on the putout. On the plate, Urania goes to third. There were 2 outs now for Miguel Montero. Montero came in as a pinch hitter in the 7th and walked and scored.
Buck, you were talking about the Cubs' schedule, how they finish up. They've got the 4 games you were just talking about with Milwaukee. Then they go to St. Louis for 4. What a road trip that is. Then they finish up at home versus the Reds. A little help at the end of the season. So 4 at Milwaukee, 4 at St. Louis, 3 versus Cincinnati.
Montero drives this one to left. Terrence Score, the left fielder, is standing right there, and that ends the inning. Urania gets the leadoff double. He's stranded at third. We'll go to the 9th. It's all Kansas City here tonight at Rogers Center.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda VersaTach. Meet our ultimate yard work companion with up to 7 interchangeable attachments.
Ninth inning here at Rogers Center as the Royals broke it all open in this second with 8 runs in that second inning, and this will be another pitcher for the Blue Jays. Leonel Campos making his 13th appearance of the season.
7th reliever, 8th pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays. Campos, he last worked at Minnesota, had a couple of strikeouts in his inning of work. He's been up and down a few times this season, 8 times for the Blue Jays. Veteran's done a good job. He's done a really nice job here at the big league level with the Blue Jays.
He has come up and provided them with innings when they were really thin in their bullpen. And he has gone back and forth several times between here and Buffalo.
It's a tough job. It is. When you've got those options and you're a pitcher, you'll go out there in a blowout game, let's say, either way, and pitch 3 innings. You know you're going back down to the minor leagues to get a fresh arm up here, so it's a tough job.
Paulo Orlando hits a high fly ball to left. Carrera comes in and makes the catch. First out of the 9th.
You know, that's one way that teams can expand their roster, if you will. And instead of having 7 relievers on your roster, it's more like having 10 or 12 relievers on your roster. Optional players, players that have options. You got 3 years that they can option you down to the minor leagues without exposing you to waivers.
There's a strike. This is Jorge Soler. He struck out in the 8th. He hits a high fly ball. Saunders, the right fielder, moving over, makes the catch 2 away. Kelvin Herrera has had a tough season. He is the former closer. But things really kind of went south for the Royals right at the July 31st trade deadline. They had made some moves, but since that trade where they acquired Melky Cabrera, they've gone 18-29. At that point on the 30th of July, they were 2 games back in the division behind the Indians.
Not the wild card.
Yeah, in the division. That's why they went out and made those moves, got very aggressive, and they didn't pan out.
Got 3 relievers from San Diego.
And Melky Cabrera. This is Brandon Moss. Moss struck out against Meza in the 8th. That was the 2nd out of the inning, and then Meza really had some problems. He would go on to give up 2 runs on 4 hits after 2 were out. This has been a tough season for the Blue Jays pitching staff. This is the 17th time this season the Blue Jays have allowed 10 or more runs in a game. Last season that happened only 8 times. And the real strength of the Blue Jays a year ago was their starting pitcher. Stroman, Sanchez there. Of course, Happ had a 20-win season. Marco Estrada was terrific. This year it's been a different story for a combination of reasons. Moss gets a base hit to right. It comes with 2 outs.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, that the starters would go 6. It was almost automatic 6, and it just sets up your whole bullpen. It sets up your team for the series. Being able to get that starter to go deeper into the ball game, then you get your 7th inning start, an 8-inning start, and then you could really work that bullpen.
Drew Butera singled in his only plate appearance. Came around to score the 14th run for Kansas City. He singled out Tim Meza.
Took over for Sal Perez in the 8th inning. Okay, well, we're just going to finish out this game. Well, he's got 2 at-bats. Chance to do something. Singleton scored his first time up.
Outside with the fastball. It's 2-1.
It's imperative to have a great backup catcher, isn't it? If you have any thoughts of doing something.
It's almost become a 2-person position when you think about those frontline starters. And you mentioned it earlier, Perez is a real exception, catching as much as he does. But that backup catcher, you got to be able to throw him in there for 4, 5, 6 days in a row and trust him that he might not win a lot of games with his bat, but he certainly won't lose the games catching for you.
Catching, calling, throwing. You know, and if you can mix in a few hits every now and then, help out the team with your offense, that's the most bonus.
There's a drive down the left side, but that's foul off the facing of the second deck.
You know, unless you have a Sal Perez or a Matt Wieters or some of those other great catchers in baseball, Russell Martin, you know, it becomes a 2-man position, I think. And the best way to do it is the way the Blue Jays did it 30 years ago. You have a platoon. You got a left-handed hitting catcher and a right-handed catcher, and they're both good catchers. They're going to play equal time.
Breaking ball. Gutierrez strikes out. That ends the top half of the 9th. Campos strikes out Gutierrez. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. Blue Jays trail by 11. Kelvin Herrera coming in. Past 10 local time, and that young lady said, you know what, I need to go to bed. It's a little bit late for me, but she's had a lot of fun, I'm sure, and she's been a trooper, hanging on till just past 10. Kelvin Herrera comes in to make his 59th appearance of the season. He's 26 for 31 in save opportunities, but he has not been as consistent as they would have hoped this season.
And that 5th blown save in 31 chances came last Thursday, allowing a game-tying RBI double to Francisco Lindor in the 9th inning. He's been great in a setup role. He's been handed over that closer's role. 26 saves this season. He's got an outstanding fastball. They're just trying to get him right. He needs an inning to get him right. He's too valuable, too good of an arm.
Teoscar Hernandez had a 2-run double in the 7th. He drove in the first 2 runs for the Blue Jays.
Herrera. You can see that fastball, 98 miles an hour. Nice little wrinkle breaking ball. His last save was August the 16th at Oakland. So they're trying to get him right.
Hernandez strikes out. That's the first out in the bottom of the ninth. Herrera with a good breaking ball there after that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Tonight in Baltimore, Chris Sale, the starter for the Red Sox. So far he's gone 8 innings, allowed 4 hits, hasn't walked a batter, and struck out 13. That number is significant because that gives Sale 300 strikeouts for the season. He becomes the first American League pitcher to strike out 300 in the season since Pedro Martinez did it in 1999 for the same Boston Red Sox. That season, Martinez had 313 strikeouts. That's the Red Sox single-season strikeout record. The fly ball deep to center as Orlando is on the move at the track. This ball is gone. Rafi Lopez with his 4th home run of the season. That gives him 20 home runs for the year when you consider he had 16 in the minors.
How impressive is that? He gets a couple of at-bats tonight for the Blue Jays. He had a sacrifice fly in the 7th inning to drive in a run, and now he drills that ball to center field. I remember sitting around the batting cage watching him take batting practice, and the coaches are saying, hey, he's got a little pop in that bat. And he's showing you why. 4th home run as a Jay. That ball was drilled to center field.
You know what? Rafi came into this game batting .346 over his last 10 starts. Kind of a surprise in those 10 starts, and this is a long home run to deep center field. Over 400 feet away from home plate.
Turn it around. Turn that pitch around from Herrera. It was 2-0, so he was sitting on a fastball and he got one.
Rafi hit his first big league home run back on the 23rd of August at Tampa Bay. He was in his 25th major league game. Rafi, when he hit that home run, became the 2nd Blue Jay to hit his first major league home run this season. The first, Marcus Stroman. Stroman hit that home run in Atlanta. May 18th, Marcus went deep for his first big league home run.
He also had a in St. Louis. Didn't he have a pinch double or something like that?
Pinch hit double in St. Louis in extra innings.
Scored the game winner. Marcus doing it with the glove, arm, and bat.
There's a base hit for Goins. So Ryan Goins picks up the 6th hit for the Blue Jays. Want to remind you, we got more preseason hockey coming up next. The Canucks and the Flames coming from Calgary, so make sure you stay tuned for that. That's right after this ball game. Darwin Barney is 0 for 2. Lays off that ball in the dirt.
You were talking about Chris Sale getting his 300th strikeouts. First season with the Red Sox. That is a rare feat in the American League. A left-hander striking out 300 batters. You know how many times it's happened in history? 6. He becomes the 6th pitcher to strike out 300 batters in the American League.
Barney hits it on the ground. They go to second for 1. Return throw not in time. Mondesi with a strong arm came across the bag, but Barney linked it out to keep the inning alive.
Slow developing. That wasn't going to turn. They were not going to turn 2 on that. He becomes the first lefty to strike out 300 since Randy Johnson did it in '93.
Yep, Johnson did it in the National League. But Sale has pitched well against Baltimore all season long.
Blue Jays are going to see him when they go to Fenway Park next week.
Sale will improve to 3-0 against the Orioles this season. It is now 9-0. Red Sox heating it up. Hanley Ramirez with 3 hits. Mookie Betts 2 for 4. Betts hit his 23rd home run. Mookie Betts has 96 RBIs.
Remember when we were just there a couple of weeks ago? He was in the 70s.
Yep. And he didn't look like he was going to come on, but he really has. Dustin Pedroia back in the lineup tonight. He drew in a pair. Carrera bounces this one to first as Moss steps on the bag, and that'll do it. Kansas City in a laugher. They win it 15-5. Jacob Junis continues to pitch well. He's the winner of this game. And Brett Anderson just an inning and a third. Mike Moustakas with a franchise record 37th home run. That sets the new franchise record for home runs. Eric Hosmer had a 2-run double early in the ball game and a tough one for the Blue Jays. They have split the first 2 games with Kansas City, and they will play the rubber match tomorrow.
Jake Junis goes to 6-0 on his last 10 starts. His last loss, you got to go all the way back to June the 29th. This one wasn't close, 15-5. Blue Jays are going to have to get it together, try to win the series tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, it'll be Jason Vargas against Jay Happ, a couple of lefties. Royals win it 15-5. Stay tuned. Here's some preseason hockey action. Let's go to Calgary for the Canucks and the Flames.